we'll change a bit the frame, and we'll talk about, I mean, you have been talking about diversity in the workforce. Now we'll talk about diversity and diversity as a richness and a strategic tool for the full development of the company. And in this way, I can see you all as well. Well, the thing is that to deal with the business environment, it has been said several times this morning, you should be a bit humble and to recognize what you know, what you don't know, and to be open to discover. As I mentioned, Design for All is about discovering the richness of human diversity, and its implementation requires one important thing: empathy. I mean, you should be able to wear in the shoes of anybody else to understand their needs, wishes, expectations, and to recognize and celebrate our differences and commonalities, including shared methods, ideologies, goals, practices, and challenges, and also to promote collaboration and sharing between the company teams, the clients, the providers, the public in general, as a way to go forward. Design for All, we define Design for All as intervention on environments, products and services in a way that everybody, regardless age, gender, abilities, cultural background, can participate in our society, but also including future generations. In this way, link with the concept of regeneration. I mean, we cannot leave to future generation a worse planet than the planet that we have received. Then we should bear this in mind, and our empathy should not be only towards the other human beings, but also about the other living beings. I mean, the animals and plants. And in this way, we can all participate in social, economic, cultural, and leisure activities and develop our potential on a base of equal opportunities. Many companies around the world have already introduced this strategy in their way of working. I will show you some examples. One is IKEA, that they create their working teams in a way that they reflect, let's say, the society for which they are working to, in terms of diversity and gender. But as example, Panasonic, you may not remember, but Panasonic was almost crushed. And then Kunio Nakamura took the leadership, and he said, okay, we will reshape the company strategy based on a distinctive black box technology. I mean, a technology developed by us that we only know, to Design for All, to allow everybody to use our products in the best way as possible, and with environmental considerations in every aspect of the product development. Tata, they got about 36,000 employees, and they invite everyone in the 30 countries where they operate to contribute to innovation and good practices and to implement it and put it in practice. Or Fujitsu, they organize every year a fair that the only aim of this fair is to present the innovations to potential clients and to have their staff there to talk to the potential clients and to know their opinion, what they think, what is their perception, and to learn from that. In Nestlé, in Spain, I mean, Nestlé is the worldwide company, but in Spain, they develop a strategy where not only the employees, but also retired employees participate in innovation programs. And in the period that they were doing this, they collect more than 5,000 innovative ideas, and 10% 10% of these, sorry, 9% of these ideas were put into practice, and people that were selected last, the providers of the best ideas, were rewarded with a travel to a European city. Or Supergriff, that is a company that produces taps for showers and for kitchens, etc. What they do is that for any single new product, everyone in the company is involved in looking at this and, let's say, trying to find possible innovations in this product. And in Subaru is a branch of Fuji Heavy Industries. And in Subaru, some years ago, they decided that at least 8% of their employees should be disabled, because they believe in, let's say, social integration. And then they involve all the company in this effort, all the employees. Then the head of departments, they were teach, as example, in sign language by the new deaf employees, and they adapt the working places to people with different aids and abilities, etc. Because they believe, and that is very important, that innovation is created when abilities nurtured from various individuals' values and experiences and backgrounds of all employees are fully demonstrated. I mean, innovation, I mean, is not only an issue of, let's say, provide the opportunity for a person with disability to work in a place, is that to have the advantage in the company that when we have new blood, fresh air inside the company, we have new opportunities to learn about different ways to see the life. In Sears, they counted and they realized that an increase in 5% of employee satisfaction resulted in 1% of increase of client satisfaction, and that increased the benefits of a company in 0.5%. And that's why, let's say, after collecting all these experiences from my own company, but also from many other companies in the world, especially in Japan, because it's in Japan where design for all, also called universal design, is more put into practice in companies. What we learn about this, we try to put it together in this method, the Humbles method, that is called Humbles, in order to be easy to remember the 6 phases of this method. That is about highlight opportunities, identify the users, monitor interaction, breakthrough options, layout solutions, efficient communication, and success evaluation. Then, why should our companies embrace design for all? This is the first phase, highlight design for all opportunities. Can you please raise your hand if you think that would be good for your company to increase the number of users? Yeah, you think, yeah, it's a good idea? Okay, good. You think to increase the number of clients would be also a good idea? Yeah, good. In order to, okay, it depends. For all, yeah, okay. Also for gain feedback on the company strategy, yeah. from potential and existing consumers and clients, do you think would be a good idea? Yeah, good. To prevent problems, what that means? Well, I will tell you a funny history. You know this? Yeah? You know what happened with this? You know what happened? That you have this in your mouth? And many children died swallowing this cup. Yeah? And that was a concern for the company, because if a child died after swallowing this, well, you cannot blame big for a child misbehaving, but in any case, it's better for big not that this would not happen. What they did, you know what they did? Yeah. They put a hole. Yeah. Then if the child swallow the cup, can breathe while you are taking the child to the hospital, and the child don't die. Yeah. Then, I mean, I remember teaching ergonomics, that with my students, what I did was to ask them how many users would have a big pen. Normally, the list of things that you can do with this is about between 50 and 60 different uses that you can give to this, apart from writing. Yeah, because we can blow, we can use. I mean, we can use it to drink. We can do many things. Yeah. Then to know about what people is willing to do with this kind of with our products is very good in order to prevent problems. Okay, to reach international markets, new international markets would be a good idea as well. Increase the market share within the tourist sector. There's also a curious issue, although I think most of you are not in the field of tourism, but we have near Barcelona a city called Girona that is famous for the old medieval ghetto for Jewish. And the city is visited by many Jewish people. Then I ask to the tourist operators, do you sell kosher wine? I said, what? I mean, if you don't sell kosher wine, your very Orthodox Jewish visitors will drink water, which is a different margin. Yeah. There are now in Catalonia, in my country, 3 sellers producing kosher wines that they start to produce them to offer it in Girona, and now they are exporting to people where there's a big group of Jews, like in States, Israel, etc. Then we can also enhance our external reputation, but also our internal reputation. I mean, if we have certain values that are shared between all of us, if all of us in our company, we are contributing to the improvement of the company, the company internally will be also more valued. And then you can also anticipate trends, because you can, let's say, know better how people behave, and you know better about their dreams and their expectations, and then you can anticipate what would happen. But also you can foster customers and employees loyalty. You can reduce costs at medium term, because all this, let's say, improvement of the product development may reduce cost. You can innovate in products and services, or sometimes to transform products into services, like the example that you mentioned. I mean, stop selling shoes, let's rent shoes. Then shoes as a service, which is a very interesting concept. I like it a lot. To focus the business on the client or the user, Again, in the tourist sector, that is very important. I mean, what a client of an hotel like this one wants from the hotel. Be treated as the best client. And if I have, as I see today, a group of Japanese that for some reason, I think they were hiking and they were quite old and very tired, and they were walking the stairs going down to the street with a lot of difficulties and not even with a handrail, yeah? Then these clients don't feel like treated as the best clients. Therefore, I mean, you should guarantee that all clients are treated as the best. To find new business lines, that is a very curious case. Axel Hotels, they define themselves as heterosexually friendly because the owner is homosexual and he developed his company thinking on a business niche of homosexual masculine couples because they have a lot of money, not many of them have children, etc. And then he based his business. But suddenly, after 2 years opening the first hotel, and then they have already 8, they discover a new market that they didn't expect. Can some of you guess what was this new market? This another niche of clients? Yeah. No, you know which was, and here I think you are majority. Business woman traveling alone. Because, I mean, you, businesswoman traveling alone, you have experience for sure that you are having a dinner alone in the hotel, and a man approaches to you, hey, are you alone? In these hotels, that is very odd if happens because the majority of the clients are homosexual. Then I mean, women prefer to, women traveling alone, they prefer to use this chain. Okay, then consolidate as well the ethical principles and increase the company prestige. Yeah. Then, do you think that you like this, let's say, objective? Yeah. Your company would be comfortable trying to achieve this? Yeah. Okay. Then you are ready to embrace design for all. Let's continue. Who are my clients and who are my users and my potential clients and users? Well, to answer this, we should know that the one who purchase our products are not always our users. I mean, the CEOs in this room, possibly, you have a very comfortable chair in your office, but probably your chair has not been purchased by you. Just has been purchased maybe by the company that decorates the company, maybe by the head of purchases, but not selected by you. But you are using this chair. Then it's like in a lollipop. It is very rare that a lollipop is bought by the own child, but is bought by the parents or the grandparents. And then the client and the user are completely different. But you need to know both. And the population is very diverse. And then you should know which are the psychological and physiological aspects of your clients, as well the kind of limitations that they may face. We make a work for the European Commission about the impact of Tourists for All in Europe. And we call 5,000 Europeans in different countries to ask them about their holidays, how they organize, etc., etc. And then only at the end, we ask them if they feel that they have some kind of disability while traveling. Can you guess which percentage of people declare that they feel having a disability? Can somebody give a figure? 40%. 40%. Why 40%? Because in many countries, the percentage of people with disabilities are maybe 8, 15, 10, etc. Why 40%? Well, because if I'm a family, member of a family, and in my family there's a member with disability, then I will have a problem. If I was hiking like the Japanese today, and I turned my leg and I got an injury afterwards, then I'm a disabled, temporarily disabled, but I am a disabled. Yeah. If it is raining like yesterday and I use glasses, I feel that I'm blind because my glasses are full of drops. Yeah. I mean, all these things makes the fact that people have problems dealing with the environment if the environment is not properly adapted to all of us. And also there are social and cultural aspects. Again, for the Council of Europe, we made a work about the needs in refugees camps. And what we do was to ask the refugees what were their needs. The first was to have water, clean water to drink. The second was to have food to eat. The third, can you guess which was the third? Sorry? No, a phone. A phone and internet access. Yeah. I mean, you should know about what people needs, yeah? Okay, and then the habits of everyone, also if people is sedentary, if people follow certain religions, or they, let's say, are vegan. Or another option, I mean, you can collect all this data, or you can play with us what we have invented, that is the diversity cube. I mean, it's like the cubic Rubik cube, where we put in each phase all aspects that diversity that are interesting for us, like maybe languages or incomes or level of education, etc. Then we play with our cube, and in one phase, it will appear a profile. And then, are we ready to respond to this profile, and to this other profile, and to this other profile? Then if we are ready for everything, that's perfect, yeah? Okay, once we know about our clients and users, we can monitor the interaction of these clients and users with our product and the service. What should be improved? We have several research techniques. In the left axis, you have the wealth of information, and in the right, the cost of this information. And you have different techniques. Leque, as an example, they use charts of users and staff together with experts exploring how people got breakfast in different parts of the world. They were making cooking tools. TCC, that is a transport company in Barcelona, they have an ombudsman that in this case is an ombudswoman because it's Imma, and and she received all the claims from the clients and explore he has right, he is not right, and in any case, I mean, which improvements can arise from these claims. Or Sol Melia, that is a hotel chain that makes surveys to all the clients about all these things. Okay, here we can see how they were exploring different kind of kitchens in different countries, or how they involve people in cooking the breakfast. And at the end, what you can create is an improvement map. The cheapest way to create an improvement map for your products and services is to start doing it with your staff. Yeah. Then when more diverse is your staff, more rich will be this. I mean, you take all the aspects of the life cycle of your product or service, the advertising, the formation, distribution, packaging and transportation, sales, etc., the use of the product, the maintenance, etc., and finally, when you refuse the product. And you look in each of these steps, what can be improved from the point of view of men, women, laterality, body dimensions, abilities, etc., etc. And with that, you know what should be improved in your product or service. It is a long task, but it works. It was very curious that in order to illustrate all this process, I used the example of Chupa Chups, that is a lollipop, and then like telling a history about the new marketing director of Chupa Chups and how he implemented Design for All. And the funny thing is that while, let's say, the book was recently published, Chupa Chups was sold out to a multinational called Perfetti. And what Perfetti did? Well, to implement 2 of the 6 things that I was suggesting. I mean, to improve the envelope, to change the stick for a material that is not plastic, etc., etc. I mean, for sure they were not copying the book, but they analyzed the product and they got some conclusions about it. Yeah. Okay, and then when we know about all the things that can be improved, will we do these improvements at one time? No. I mean, because we need to know about the impact on the potential user and clients. We need to know if our investments will be, let's say, appropriate for this project. If there's a sense of opportunity, I mean, can I make an accessible website to attract more people? Yeah, right now, no. When I will renew my website, yeah. And then also, and that's very important, the capacity of development and implementing the improvements. I mean, when you mention the mentors, yeah, I mean, it is clear that in many cases, the companies need external knowledge to be hired to be able to develop these projects. And then you should have capacity to manage the project. And once you have this, then you have the 7 interdependent success factors. That is long to explain, but I will do it in a very short way. We have discovered many years ago, together with my friends Silvio Sagramola and Peter Neumann, that any project in the world contain these 7 factors. And if these factors are not balanced, the project fails. And that's always, always, always. And doesn't matter if it is a construction project in Abu Dhabi, doesn't matter if it is a winery, doesn't matter if it is the idea of selling the company. If all these things, the commitment at the top level, coordination and continuity, networking and participation, strategic planning, knowledge management, qualification, resource optimization, and communication and marketing, if one of them fails, the project fails. And then we go to implement these solutions. And that always goes through a process that starts defining a briefing, then to check the interaction with, let's say, the prototypes, etc., after interacting with the partners. I mean, you develop prototypes and test models, and finally you put your product in the market, and then you have the evaluation that here is in gray because it's the last part of the Hamels method. But now I will show you about this company, Access Safety, that they decided to do something. They were not in the business of street flooring at all. And they said, okay, what people say about flooring? And they ask producers, they ask installers, they ask citizens, they check everything. And then they decide to design new flooring for cities from the scratch. And as a consequence, they invented a new material called sintered stone. And now, I mean, they are producing and selling a product that don't have the spots. Chewing gum is not attached to it, is not slippery, it lasts 50 years, and use the materials that is rejected by stone quarries. I mean, they use only recycled material. Yeah. And then we have efficient communication, should be flexible in communicating, do not stigmatize, be sincere and honest. It was mentioned already today. Be simple, receptive, and permeable to the feedback in the process. And we have a funny story from Llorenç Dolls. Is a factory that produces dolls for babies. And they were enthusiastic about the accessible dolls. And they produced dolls where the dresses were easy to close, the eyes reproduce, and the how is called this? This part of lashes. Yeah, thank you. The lashes were almost feeling like natural in order that a blind child may perceive the lashes, everything. Yeah. It was very nice, though. What was the mistake? They said, we have made these dolls in this way. All children with disabilities will feel very good playing with these dolls. They don't sell one. Why? Because if I have a child with disability, I don't want to have special things for my child. I want my child playing with normal things. If my child is not disabled, why should I give to my child a toy for disabled? Then they change completely their strategy. They never mention for whom are the products. They describe the qualities of the products, and that is also very important. And then success evaluation. I mean, you may have sales grow, margin grows in the participation in market, profitability, return of investment that I mentioned, in growth in different groups of clients, and then, as I mentioned before, Sagrada Familia is an exceptional example that they, let's say, got a return of investment in 1.7 days. But also, Catalan Railways, they decide to invest not 80,000 euros, but 19 million euros in making a line accessible together with the trains. And the return of investment was in 1.6 years because they increased the passengers by 16%. What do you think? 16% of wheelchair users? Obviously not. 16% of pram users, bicycle users, skater users, freelancers that were painters, and they were the trolley, they took the paint through the train, etc., etc. I mean, this is always an increase of clients when you well implemented design for all, and they also were checking the increase in the satisfaction of the clients that also grow. Okay, and then there are also intangible or not that tangible advantages like the improvement of the work climate, the increase of noticeability of the company, the image in social forums, the brand image and reputation, etc. And here I show you some example of inspiring products and services. One very funny is this one from Tokyo, that they ask 16 designers to design nice, accessible toilets. Then the Tokyo toilets that were also the object of a film are now one of the tourist attractions to go to Tokyo to visit these toilets. But also you have from Atun this half robot that you can wear to reduce your fatigue while carrying weights and prevent injuries. Or from Sony, you have these two products. One is the joystick that is developed to make it accessible for everyone, and then went to the market for everyone. And you can substitute and replace the pieces of the joystick. But they also developed this drum that when you play it, it has light and vibrates. Then even if you are deaf, you can be part of an orchestra. It's also nice for everyone. Yeah? Or after the Fukushima disaster, Panasonic developed this lamp that you can put any kind of battery inside that it works. Doesn't matter the battery that you have in house. You put batteries and it works. Or also Fujitsu, they develop this initiative that in sport fields, they are very noisy, and youngsters and children with autism spectrum cannot manage with all this noise around, and then they create closed spaces where they are more silent, and in this way they can enjoy the game. Then, after this, what can you do tomorrow if you want to implement this? My suggestion is, first, discuss internally if this list of opportunities can be interesting for your company. Then discover the richness of the diversity in your workforce, the people that works in the company. And third, because it's also not very expensive, start to create your map, the improvement maps with your employees. I mean, to allow them and to reward them participating in proposing ideas for improving and innovating. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.